but they're on Cone's Academy, so we can expect to see some improvement from them as well.
Oh, I can imagine. I know all of players at the Kona Academy are just like improving so much. They're scary.
Yeah,
So
very fun times.
But the thing is, like, even if Wales has improved a lot, I mean, they're facing one of the main favorite teams from the World Tournament, Germany.
Yeah,
and that might be really tough.
Tier 1. Yep. This is a heavy mountain for them to climb. If they can, if they're coming in, I'm thinking they're coming in, and their goal is that they wanna dent them. They wanna make them bleed. Maybe not beat them, but if they can put some fear in their hearts, I think they've done a good job.
That's true. But well, we'll see.
Yeah, I think we're starting off here with EUO and Vivi.
It seems so. Yeah. I'm just not sure about who is who actually, because I'm not sure to know which character they pick.
So I believe on like the left you can see that EUO is playing Peach. Okay,
Yeah.
it's a bit low resolution, so it's hard for me to tell. But EUO is a Peach main, so I would assume that EUO is playing Peach. I'm fairly certain Vivi's a Marth, so that would check out.
So sad to losing that stock that way. The thing is, like, Peach is so important in crews because she can just survive for such a long time. So losing her stock at 13% is heartbreaking for, I think, the whole crew. But that aside, he still managed to take another one after it.
Yeah, we're still looking. It's certainly they're bleeding too hard just yet. I think this is a kind of I wouldn't have thought this was a great starting situation for Wales. Like, Peach is a really good starting character, but against Marth and Yoshi, it seems like she can lose her stocks a bit faster than she'd like.
That's true. Especially on Yoshi's story also, yeah, that's definitely a dangerous stage for her. Can be kind of a double-edged sword somehow, because even if she takes space, I mean, it's Marth way more.
Yes, Marth way more, and how the platforms work, like, so much of that platform space is so threatening. Or Marth can threaten so easily, just like with one F smash can just cover the entire platform.
Okay.
I'm not sure what's happening here, if there's like been a desync or...
I don't know, maybe they're suffering, like, all of the lag we're seeing right now, maybe they're suffering from it, so maybe they're just making a tiny check. In any case, I think they're back playing. Okay. Fortunately, did not reach the last one. Would have been the stock for sure there.
Yeah. Yeah, this is what Wales have won. I mean, like, we were expecting, once we saw like the Nikki or Six, some of like the big hard hitters in Germany, we were expecting them to sort of clench those stocks very quickly. But when players like Vivi are kind of confidently powering through their stocks,
yeah, that's sad. Okay. Thing is, like, in crews, every stock matters. Like, especially when you're facing a stronger opponent. I mean, we've seen that on Portugal against Austria, for instance. Like, every stock matters, because it definitely ended at only 2 stock difference, even if they were a deficit or 4 stock at some point. So all of those stocks definitely matter. So yeah, it's kind of heartbreaking to see like for now 3 stocks to 1. Let's hope that EO can take 1 last stock or maybe 2.
Yeah.
Or maybe win the game.
Literally, as you say, every stock matters, and being three stocks down is so much different than 2 stocks down.
Oh, and that's gonna be
unfortunately, yeah. Yeah. No one else wanted. No one else wanted.
No, but yeah, so Germany is starting with a pretty strong lead, which is not good for Wales. Not good for Wales. Let's be honest. Unfortunately,
no. This was. I mean, I think that there are some people in Europe that are like especially good with their data, and they're very aware of many players. So for those, I really respect. But I think a lot of us, we struggle to know, like, we look at Germany and be like, oh, their 10th best player is here, but not everybody in Europe would know the top 10 in Germany. So we're seeing these players come out and we're like, oh, well, how would, the top 5 in Wales compare to the top 10 in Germany? Maybe there'd be pretty similar skill. And for Germany, for Wales' sake, you really hope they are.
No, for sure.
So, yeah. So when you come across it, it's just like VV comes out the gate strong. It's like, ooh, maybe this is not going to be as close as we might hope.
I mean, afterwards, we don't really know. At some point, maybe EUO is not really comfortable on the Morph matchup. I don't know I don't know all the details, obviously. Maybe Wales got some trick card or so against Morph, especially for now. I mean, for that specific situation.
Yeah.
But
also, what I was saying before about like because they don't have Sechi and Isdar, this could be like they might be a bit shaky going in. Like they're used to having their stronger players, and now players that beforehand wouldn't have to carry the team, or maybe if they didn't perform quite as well, it wouldn't be as detrimental because you have an amazing player like Sechi to carry you through. But without that confidence, maybe they might play a little shakier, or need a bit of time to sort of pick up and find themselves, find their confidence.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah. So it's only game one.
I think they might replay. I don't know. I think they're back at it. It's both EO and VV, if I'm not mistaken, right now. Or Wales does got another peach.
I'd be surprised if another Welsh peach was coming in. I'm not sure of any. So perhaps they're playing either all the stocks or just a few of them. Yeah, because there was that game did look a bit shaky at the beginning. There were moments like they stopped for a while.
Yeah.
Just relaxed for a bit. So
okay, well we'll see. We'll see what they're gonna do. But yeah, Germany definitely looking, as we said, like super strong. I'm actually super hyped to see Six back.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Six is an amazing player. He's a beast at cruise also. Like he had played at some air while he was representing Germany, and he was just such a beast even with Link. So I'm so hyped to see him back and watch him play during the international crew tournament.
Yeah, me too. Six is like a unicorn. You don't quite believe he exists, but they're like, oh, the mythical creature Six. He's there. I can see him.
That's actually very true. And you do not believe it exists until you see him play also.
Like a horse with a unicorn, like a horse with a horn on his head, that doesn't make sense. A top Link player, that doesn't make any sense. There's no such thing. You're imagining it. I think I am imagining it. It just doesn't make sense.
That's very true. Okay, so they're playing it back actually.
Playing it back. We didn't get the reasoning why, but it could have been. Maybe I definitely doubted EUO. Maybe he has the power to take on VV. That wasn't a fair showing.
Well, I was about to say, let's hope they will not finish in another 3 stocks, but that starts pretty grim, I gotta say, for Peach.
Not a good start.
Oh, good call though. Good call.
At the very least, the worst case scenario didn't happen, that they replayed and then he got 4 stocks, because that would have been miserable.
Actually, there was also a very good turn, by the way, in edgeguard. Like, I felt he fought the high recovery, allowing him just take the edge and just like end up the edgeguard afterwards. But that Morph, he got some pivot going on.
Yeah, that was an early percent illusion stock as well. But again, like these are really good edge guards. I think it was Armada that said that like he feels that this matchup, Marth wins it until Peach is holding a turn.
Yeah, I think I've heard something around those lines. But turnip or not, when you're off stage, even if you never not be, oh my god, what a dunk!
It's a bit of a scary recovery. But this is like a much more like brutal match.
That's true. I love how EO is just like trying to play a bit more, I want to say passively, but right now, or more defensively, taking more space. But right now he cannot escape, unfortunately, and Vivi just making such a great wall. Yeah,
it feels like when EUO's a disadvantage, then he's struggling hugely. When it was in neutral, I felt he was able to hold his own. He was able to bring up the walls, like you were saying, keep Marth away. But as soon as he got hit once, his recovery seemed a bit panicky and immediate. I didn't see him like use his float to sort of weave in and out as you often do from Peaches. But yeah, very good showing from both players. Actually,
that's very true, though.
Better game than the first one we saw.
But I feel like that was also the fact that they were on Yoshi's story. That's the thing. When you are on Yoshi's story, you cannot run away from the Marth. And as you said, Vivi was just so good at just keeping the pressure. Like the last sequence, actually, on Hansi's last stock was just like, as you said, he kept his ground up. EO just kept good distance. Nothing terrible had happened, and suddenly got hit, and that was it. Afterward, it just like kept following him. Like EO tried to roll twice, he was already on him. He tried air dodge, he was already on him. He tried to retreat to make some crazy weird recovery, he was always on him. Like there was no room to escape.
Yeah, and I think that's almost more challenging as Marth, because Marth's one of the characters where not only do you have to like space aggressively well, like to close in the area and to keep them like every other character does, but also you have to be very aware of where you are in relation to how your moves will tipper or not. And I think that was another thing that Vivi was very good at. He was kind of controlling how his moves, like which move he wanted and where he would space himself to make sure that he didn't. Because like getting a tipper forwarder, for example, against Peach isn't too bad, because then you put Peach in a position where she's very high up. Marth will just have to kind of wait till she comes down and call out how she's going to fall. But if you can get the weak hit, it kind of puts Peach in that, it kind of pushes her that way, so you can then get ready to follow up again.
That's very true, actually.
Yeah, I really like how he handled all that.
Yeah, that's very true. That's definitely one of the main difference I feel with a real Marth main and the rest of the Marth. The fact that you're using your sour spots, your weak hits to keep going on the combo, the pressure, and especially against floaties, because they always just goes way too far when you hit them. So yeah, I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, I think that's like something that I think, how like it feels like in Smash there's always like a thing the community's focusing on. I don't know if you feel this way too, but I always feel there's this thing that the community's sort of focusing on and the community tends to get better at. And I feel at the moment, weak hits generally people are becoming a little more aware of. Like I'm seeing Foxes start to use their weak hit nairs and convert harder off them, or the weak hit back airs. Like I've seen like Nikki talking about that he's starting to like intentionally use like a rising weak hit back air. And I'm seeing other Foxes do that too. I'm like, oh, that actually seems like generally we're getting better at that. We're being more aware of thinking of, we don't just have one area anymore, we have two. The strong hit and the weak.
I definitely agree with that. Like, yeah, that's very true. There are stuff that definitely like existed till the beginning of the game. Like for instance, like weak knee into up air, or strong knee, for instance, from Falcon. That's the one that everyone knows. Like everyone knows this one. But definitely after this one, like all of the others are starting to building up again and again and again and again. You can tell on some tiny details sometimes that a huge like good players will definitely aim at those weak hit at some specific time, even if it's the same knockback. I mean the same angle. Okay, if they are at higher percent, they will aim for the weak hit to just extend the combo in another way, and stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. And
it's it's one of the great things about Melee. It just feels like there's always something, an area to be creative. There's always something to find here.
It's actually one of the things I feel the most beautiful about the fact that your opponent's at high percent and suddenly you think the combo will end because like it's at high percent, you wait for a back air, for instance, as you said, or anything, and suddenly there's that tiny weak hit coming from nowhere, extending the combo to another fashion. Like the first time I've seen like the reverse weak hit back air from Sheik into Fair, for instance.
Yes. Yeah. It's just like, whoa.
What happened?
Like in most games, it wouldn't really matter, but because DI is so important in Melee, suddenly it's just like, oh no, you just changed everything about like your opponent's strategy. You just blew it up in front of them, and it was so simple.
Yeah.
I gotta love it. It's fantastic.
That's right. The thing.
I'm very curious who Wales will send in versus this Marth.
I think they're gonna send Libers. Do you know that Fox player?
I do know the Fox player, Libers. Um, I don't believe him to have a good track record against Marth. Not to suggest it's bad, but he came across to me as one of those Fox players that excels where Fox excels and struggles where Fox struggles. Like I used to play him, and he would also struggle versus Ices, and he was always just struggle versus Samus as well. Like the sort of more niche characters that he doesn't come up against very much. And I think Marth, while obviously much more common, is in that category of the things that Fox players want to do. If they can't do the thing they want to do, then they struggle. And I think Ices, Samus, and Marth, they kind of make you play a different way. They're like, you got to respect these options. You can't just run through me. And I think Libers may struggle for that reason. But we'll see. We'll see. It's been a long time. It's like because of the happenings in the world, lots of people have ran off and started training on their own and started doing their own practice, playing against lots of varieties of different people. So who knows? Who knows?
Okay.
Either way, let's see.
Yeah, the thing's like either way, they set him on the against Vivi. So I feel like at least they're confident enough to do it that way. But actually, when I see the Wales crew, there is a lack of character diversity. Like there's a lot of Fox and
the same. Yeah. I was thinking when I asked initially who do you think is going in, I was thinking I can only see Spaceys, another Marth, and a Puff. And none of those are like inspire confidence against Marth.
Very true, very true.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Vivi did not SD right away.
Vivi.
Okay, I think they do not care. They do not care. They just want to fight. I think we're at a point in time, where like we have no time. We have no time to explain. Just fight,
No time. We're just running in. This is Marth Fox. We have no time to deal with this.
But I mean, let's just say Marth has 2 stocks, and as soon as he lost his 2 stocks, I think we can seal the deal there. Yeah. I mean, I love the Chio though.
I'm hoping Libers was at least somewhat ready for Vivi to come in and didn't just play it out because I guess we're playing now.
Oh, but what a recovery, by the way, by Libers. We love that angle. That was crazy.
Just getting clipped by the dash, the get up attack. It looked like he was trying to space for it. Like it looked like he thought about it. Unfortunate.
Okay, nice angle once again. I love the movement of Vivi, by the way. I feel like it's really good at just like provoking things from his opponent. He did that. Oh no, unfortunately, he did that against EO, for instance. But I feel like he's also doing it against Libers, and it's quite impressive, to be honest.
Wanted. But yeah, I agree. I think Vivi has been really good at sort of putting himself in the right spots to always be threatening.
I mean, those dash gens, like for instance, this is exactly what I was talking about. He's so good at it.
You love it in commentary when you say something, and then they just perfectly prove your point in just like a split second. Like, oh yes, that is what I mean. Thank you.
I love the player for that, for sure. Okay.
This has been really good in recovery. There was a moment where he went for where Vivi did the down air, and while it looked like he just mistimed it, that was a beautiful angle. His angles are on point.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Like Libers definitely, like he's always coming back from situation where he should not. How many times did he survive? Yeah. That's just insane, actually.
That was so good. I almost wish he got like more reward for it.
Okay, good throw. Good up tilt.
Ooh, brilliant up tilt, yeah.
Okay, shine simple.
Yeah.
Nice cross up.
I was talking to Libers the other day actually, and he was mentioning that he finds it frustrating that when he's playing and he makes these simple tech errors like accidentally full hopping instead of wave dashing. And I'm seeing the full hops that look a bit strange, and it's starting to make me think, oh, maybe that was a wave dash. And I wonder if that's how that's influencing his thought process.
Might be.
Yeah.
Okay, so he lost his 2 stocks already. So it's 2 stock. I think. Yeah. He
Yep.
also lost 2 stocks, right? Yeah, the Fox
Yes, he
lost 2
did.
stocks.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was
Libers
thinking,
lost 2 stocks.
why did the feed cut out? And I was like, oh yeah.
That's true. We forgot. BK.
But yeah, I mean, to be fair, like in Foxmarth, and from what I know about Libers, I'm happy to see that he went even in that match
Yeah.
because it could, it can snowball in against Marth. So I'm glad it didn't.
Got to be honest, now I'm quite curious to see what he's about to do in singles tomorrow, for instance. Like, like his recovery was definitely really good. And I felt like, unfortunately, Vivi was a bit like, that was funny because I felt like Vivi got a way better punish game against Speech than against Fox from what we've seen. Like, he found grabs, missed after it sometimes, stuff like that. Whereas, and he let a lot Libers just moving around, just he let him just flee away. Compared to against EO, where he was just like making pressure, keeping him on spots, which is was kind of surprising. But
yeah,
but yeah,
and like as good as like Liver's recoveries were, oftentimes Marth does have kind of checkmate moves where he can just cover any angle. So obviously amazing by Livers to specifically call out the kind of moves that Vivi was going for, but Vivi didn't need to be kind of that flashy. He could have kept it simple with his down tilts and his counters, but instead kind of tried to do these hard callouts by just down airing in like one or at least a couple of angles, but not having enough faith in Livers' recovery that he just let him get by.
But I feel also like Libers was really slippery. Like all of those recovery, for instance, that he did not seal. If that makes sense. Like all of those forward smash that whiffed. You talked about the down air, a back air, even at some point. Like so many hits just whiffed on the edge guard, and I feel like even on those tiny interaction during the games, Libers was just so slippery that at some point, he just like wanted to use, I think, a strong big hitbox that took a lot of space, just like stop Libers to move around.
Yes.
I feel.
Yeah, when I think that's like the thought that always comes to my mind when we talk about that kind of thing is when I used to play against Prof, I don't consider myself someone who like panic spam smash attacks or does those kind of options, but Prof, because he's so good at just staying in his threat zone but not always pulling the trigger, he kind of forces you to in a panic. And I think like that's kind of what a good example of what Livers was doing, is that he was kind of keeping the threat good enough without overstaying his welcome. So he was able to just sort of go in and out and keep the fear up.
No, that's true. But in any case, now he's gonna face 4 tilts, none others than 4 tilts.
Very strong player
from Germany.
Yeah, very strong player.
Oh yeah, he is.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, Germany was already one of the best country in the world at some let's say in the world, because
that's just true. Yeah.
that's just true.
Yep.
And the thing is, like, at some point they even beginning to be even better because they got new players as Rix, Kinzo, Nikki, and 4 tilts.
Yeah. On top of, and like the great players are they're still around. Like we don't see as much of like Ice as we used to, but he's still around. He is a coach on Cone's Academy, so he's still playing Melee and he's still actively thinking about it.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah. But what does give me faith, if we look at the Welsh team, I would say like Rogue and Matt Smith are both some of the strongest Welsh players, and they're both playing Falco. So this shouldn't be a matchup that Libers isn't experienced in.
Okay.
Well, this should be a one he is experienced in. Double negatives being confusing.
I think he's waiting for his opponent to SD, and I'm not sure Libers is ready for that. I don't know. I think there's a misunderstanding.
Yeah, I think Libers may have been confused based on based on his opponent not SDing, so he thought maybe we're just not SDing.
Maybe we're doing the same at the previous game.
Yeah. Nope. An understandable communication error. Hopefully it's been resolved. and Libers will throw himself off the stage.
When I see the man, when you look at the German crew, they are it's insanely threatening. Honestly, they
Yeah,
got they got character diversity. They got all of them are great players. There's no player in that crew that I don't know about, for instance, or that
yeah,
I think like, why is it there compared to another one?
yeah.
And that talk by himself, that makes sense. Like,
Yep. And on top of that, they only need 5 of them.
yeah, that's true.
So one of these, like, they're all really great players, but one of them may not be used at all.
Mm.
And like, if that person was on another team, he might be like a frontliner.
True.
Like, if you move one player from the German team to the Welsh team, they'd be like, one of the, very important players that they would almost or we'd expect to see them use. So they're very stacked, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, but I'm really curious and looking forward to see all the tournament. The fact that it's during for the whole year is just amazing. I'm a huge fan of the international crew, and that tournament, that format for the whole year with every team kind of fighting against each other, at least in all of those pools, is just amazing. The fact that teams also can switch up to 5 players during the year.
Yeah.
I mean, like when you see the German crew, for instance, and you just said, okay, you just said earlier, like at any point in time, Ice is still playing, he's still thinking about the game, blah blah blah. And just imagine the fact that Ice, okay, let's say in May, or in June, he's coming back. Like, okay, guys, I'm back now.
I'm back. I'm here.
Take a seat. Take a seat. Come in the crew right away.
I mean, they might not even say that. I'd be like, well, do we really need you? You're all new. Us new kids want to beat up everyone else. I'd be like, I mean, maybe they could.
They might could actually, depending on how the pools go. They might could say that.
I'd be able to do it with just this new crew and just embarrass all the old people. Yeah, very fun.
Yeah. So just for letting you know, so Libers got just had a tiny crash, if I'm not mistaken. So he'll be back in a moment, and we'll see the rest of the game, obviously. And I think they actually playing. I got a feed. I got a feed of them playing actually. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We'll need to reconnect.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, they're currently playing. And I just know there's 3 stock. Okay, there's no feed for now for you. So let's make a radio commentary. Let's try it. So 4Tilt is 3 stocks. He already lost 1, but Libers is already on his last stock. This is on Pokemon Stadium, as we saw just earlier. Find a great opening by 4Tilt, making a great read on a rollback. Still making a good pressure, pushing his opponent off stage, but still managing to come back. But 4Tilt, another opening, pushing him off stage, trying edge guard, missed it. Libers is back, finding an up smash, not killing him just yet, allowing 4Tilt to come back from the center, finding a backer, not dealing the edge guard yet. Also, both of them just surviving to 157%, 164%. Libers does not want to die. 4Tilt still making the pressure on the edge, finding the back air, and that's 3 stocks for 4Tilt against Libers.
Oh.
I hope it was understandable. I'm not even sure I understand myself by commentating that way. I hope you did.
I'm not even sure where you got that data from. I was all like, I'm glad we have you, Fausto. I assume you were using telepathy to tune in to the melee of the world and just pull it out of you so the people could see.
No melee will escape from me.
Must be awful trying to sleep. You're just in bed leaning up like, oh man, this person just took 2 stocks, this person just took 3 stocks.
So yeah, so 4Tilt still in, lost only 1 stock. So Libers unfortunately did not manage to take out a second stock from Libers. So Germany is still digging up the stock difference between the players.
Okay.
Because like EU was took only 2 stocks, now Libers took only 3 stocks. if I'm not mistaken. Yes, that's it. So they're both of them behind of the 4-stock. Let's say the 4-stock neutral. Um, like when you're in cruise, if you take 4-stock, you're in neutral results. Let's say that like you did not outperform and took more for your cruise, but you did not give your stock to the opponent, basically. But both of them are in deficit. Then 2 and 3 that might be tough.
Might be tough. I think we hear Matt Smith coming in.
Totally. That's gonna be Matt Smith. So you said it's the best player from Wales, right?
I believe so. I think at this point, I don't know how they would rank it, but from me knowing all the players, I would have thought that Matt Smith was the best. Recently, I think he just entered a net play event with it was like the England, there was like an England but with Europe, and I think Matt Smith won the whole thing, and that was just recently.
Okay,
So,
cool.
It's a very good.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah,
But I mean, as you said, like Wales got like insane player as Sechi, for instance, stuff like that. So there's definitely players that help all of the maybe newcomers or just like players just a bit under his level to at least perform and just like want to do better, I guess.
I see. Yeah.
So in any case, we're gonna see that's Falco Ditto, and I love the Falco Ditto. There's a kind of match that
I too love a Falco Ditto.
Yes.
Falco's Falco's such an interesting character with how you can play both like extreme playstyles of him. He can be the most explosive, fun, with the coolest neutral and the coolest punish, but then he can also play a very defensive, very like calculated game. Mm-hmm. You're not forced into either style.
That's very true, actually. The thing that I love in that matchup, just like one opening and the stock can just go away, and like they're so brutal in each other. It's like that kind of matchup. It's like Falco hating on Falco, just like Falco putting like all of his inward hate toward the character onto another Falco. Like, I know you're fragile, I know you're weak, I know you're gonna die quick, so I'm gonna put everything on you. All of the moments I died at 20%, you're gonna suffer from it. Like, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Very exciting stuff. And I'm curious to see, like, because as you said, we know of 4tilt being this amazing player, but I don't think Matt Smith has been able to, like, prove himself on the world stage yet. So I can tell you, Matt Smith's amazing. This will be a good match, but I'm hoping that that's what we'll see as well.
let's just hope he's not making you lie, basically.
Yes, I don't want to look like a liar.
Okay, well, we'll see. We're hoping like, we just hope like Matt Smith will do his job, basically. But I'm really, once again, like, as against Portugal, I'm just like looking forward to discover some great player from Wales, so we'll see. Libers already did his job to impress me, for instance. And I think impress everyone on the stream. So I'm curious to see about the Falcons. About Matt Smith. And I love the tag, actually. I love the tag. Simple.
Matt Smith, yeah. I like just a name. Especially when you got a good name. It's just nice. It just sounds good.
Okay. But it's already a 3-stock deficit. Man, that's a lot. I mean, the stocks could just like go away really fast, and suddenly it's a full new player. They can be behind a world player if that match goes wrong. Because the 3 stocks against 4 is a match that can go in any ways, for sure. It's not a huge deficit, especially in a Falco Ditto where any opening can lead to a stock loss. Okay. And just for the neutral one is 4tilt and the blue one is Matt Smith. Just for all of you to be sure of that. Okay, oh la la, it's 4tilt!
Strong start from 4tilt.
And here we go again! Ah, the laser just shutting down the double jump. There we go. Unfortunately, did not manage to get the edge guard afterwards. But
No.
look at the control of that Falcon.
But that was a good turnaround for Matt Smith. It didn't quite convert as hard as I would have liked, but the neutral's looking pretty. It's looking pretty strong. Not a liar, trust me.
I'm trusting you.
Thank you.
Even if you got 4 stock, I'll still trust you because crews are really stressful for any players.
Yes, that's very true.
I think the mental game in crews is so hard because you need to play your best of 1 against a player you barely know, and all of the stock you lost or you take is impactful for your whole team of 10 players or your region or countries.
Yeah, and I think like different players, like certain styles promote you to spend more time playing, so you get a read on your opponent. But other styles are much more like, I'm going to do very strong punishes and very strong, like, good neutral choices, but not necessarily play the player, quote unquote.
That's true. Ah, we take those.
You take those. It looked like he thought about it. Thought about letting him back, and he was like, maybe if this was singles, maybe if it was just me on the line, I'd let him back. I don't know how the rest of Wales will feel.
Okay, but Germany, oh man, he already took more stock than Matt Smith did, unfortunately.
Yep, they've already. It's a big stock difference now from like Wales to Germany as a whole.
Oh.
It's just climbing.
Yep, it is. Okay, good call. Dash attack, there we go, back air, not going too much forward though. Still trying to keep up the stage, unfortunately let him go through, trying to throw a laser in out of shield, get punished right away by full tilt because of it, and because of that is still under the pressure. What a down air!
Now, Fortil is just so able to break through Matt's defenses. The way I see Matt as a player is someone who is very patient, he's good at building his wall, he's good at blocking players from like forcing past him, but it's just not phasing Fortil. He's waiting the right amount of time while Matt Smith's in shield to get those shield pokes. He's just chasing him down.
That's so tough. When you imagine the fact that he was about to take another stock, but suddenly he teched. Like, he take that back air at 150%, or I don't remember, he just like didn't move. Like, yeah, man. I'm sorry.
And I was like, I don't know if he felt a bit shaken, because like he was in an opportunity, he had the opportunity where he could just hit him again, but it was just, he was like surprised that he made it back. So you should be expecting, like, of these caliber players, you're usually expecting like they could very, very reasonably tech this. It's a new era. People arms attack all the time.
Yeah, that's crazy. Actually, that's definitely crazy to see people like AMSA taking everything at any point in time. Like the meta evolved so much around the crouch canceling and ASDI down mechanic that it's just crazy to see all the players now completely aware of those and ready to use them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the melee's changed. Melee just looks different now.
Yeah. We were talking about it with a friend. Like we were Samus player, okay, and we said, "Do you remember when everyone hating on us when we were crouch canceling every single day? Look at them now! Look at them now!
Those hypocrites." Yeah.
Oh.
It's like when Mango complains about how everyone's shield dropping. No, he doesn't. Now he's the best at it.
I understand.
Hating on Samuses. Those poor Samuses.
That's so sad. That's so sad. Okay, so next player from Wales gonna be Bang. What
Bang
can you
the
tell
Mark.
about him?
Bang is currently signed up Cones Academy, as I mentioned. His training partners are mainly on the Space Seas and Falcon side. I think that's the area he's more comfortable with. I think he's also a player that's been playing forever. He's been in the scene for so long now. He's ran so many events, and he's like a big anchor of the Welsh scene. So he's lovely. Very happy to have him here. But he's one of those players that's been around so long. It's like it's hard to sort of pinpoint where their matchups are because they've played them all and they've been around so much. So maybe if we are to sort of spin a narrative, he's a very like solid player, but maybe the newer tech that people are throwing out might catch him up a bit. Because as we're saying, that Melee's changed a lot and looks different. People are incorporating crouches really well, and like especially the punish game on Marth, that's evolved quite a lot. Or at least escaping the punish game on Marth with the ASDI out to escape the up tilts on platform and such. So I think that's something that we can look out for, is how has Harvey adapted to, or Bang, how has he adapted to this new meta? Has he been keeping up with it?
And that's gonna be tough because I mean, when we talked about Fortiel is one of those players that is from a new generation, newest generation. So it's definitely a player that got everything ready on. I mean, he just learned all of the new tech on the go.
Yeah.
Whoa. I don't remember. I think Fortiel is 2 stocks, right? Yeah, I think he has 2 stocks.
Yes.
He has 3 stocks, Matt Smith. Oh, mate. That's tough.
Yeah. For me, saying that's probably their best player, like, that's a hard look. But I think it's more a testament to how strong Germany is. I think at the end of the day. Because we know that these players are incredible. And, like, I couldn't say that, like, you know, as someone who was once a very good player, or at least a good player, I couldn't say that if you stuck me up against, like, you know, Nicky or Pipsqueak now, that I wouldn't get 4 stocks, so...
Oh la la!
Yeah.
Fortiel, but please someone stop that man! The thing is, like, he's alone in his house right now, so nobody can unplug his controller, but we need to do something!
Ooh,
thank you!
Very tricky! Answers back with the old school tech of grabbing ledge.
Okay, can he take another one? Can Fortiel really take another stocks once again?
I think
he can.
Yeah, it's not outside of his reach.
Oh la la. He's reading. Oh. Missed it!
Yeah.
And what a forward smash
after coming in.
Oh, nice tech.
Attack.
Really nice tech.
Ooh. I really like that movement around ledge.
And he took another one, man. Can he take another one? Again? Because I mean, it's just like, he's just winning any kind of neutral situation. And as soon as, and if Bang cannot end the stocks, unfortunately, Fortiel will just win it again and again and again and again. He's ready for it, but what the hell is that man?
I think this is another thing that you tend to see in, like, the really strong players compared to, like, good players. Ooh, that was a very good choice.
Yeah.
That was a very good choice. I think everybody was like, there's a down air. This man wants a down air. He's Marth, and he wants to shoot him downwards. But that's very restrained forward air. Very, very smart. I'm very glad he went for that. But yeah, what I was going to say, sorry to steal the conversation, but what I was going to say was how I think you see in top players that a lot of the times a huge difference maker for them is they tend to just live forever. They don't get, like, the way that they get gimped by maybe other top players, but when they're playing against the good players, they just seem to be a step aware of everything they can do to lose their stock, and their DI is always on point, and they're always arms attacking. Like, their survival is incredible. And I think we saw that then, where Bang, he was getting the hits, he was doing fine in neutral, but ultimately he wasn't closing out stocks, or his combos weren't lasting as long, where 4 tilts, they lasted exactly as long as they needed to.
I agree. And that's why the last edge guard was so important and so well done by a Bang, actually, because, like, he definitely just trusts on the checkmate situation and just, like, fall down with him until you do not double jump. I will not do it myself, and double jumping and punching him afterward. It was just kind of amazing for sure.
Yeah. And he was so close to the down air range that I was worried that he'd be so fixated on hitting that down air that he'd miss the forward air.
I agree.
Didn't. Yeah.
But then I feel like that was also the recognition on the fact that, okay, he survived for so long, the 4 tilt, that can definitely just come with him, like, deep down below the stage to be sure that he will be over. But that aside, we got the new players coming up from Germany, and he's none others than Kesse. And Kesse is a really good Sheik player from Germany. Do you know a bit from about him?
I've seen him play a bit, and I've seen how frightening his Sheik is. He's a player that I personally would very much like to avoid because he's so good. But more than how good he is, I don't know any. I don't have any sort of insider knowledge like I do with some of the Wales guys.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have much about the about Kesse actually. Neither like where he's from, Germany, who with who does he play, blah blah blah. But I know he's definitely like one of those kind of players that just like step up in the top 10 of Germany, and now he's here. He's not moving from any inch. Like he's still in it, and I think like it will be in it for a long time.
Yeah, I think like it tends to be. Maybe I'm just sort of projecting, but there tends to be like a lot of countries have that very strong Sheik player that just sort of sticks around and like blocks anybody else from trying to get past them. Sheik's like, maybe that's more of a case of like Sheik being a character where she's so good, but to get to the next level, to like initially out the gate, Sheik is a very good like beginner's character, quote unquote, because so many of her moves are naturally very good. But to escape some of the higher level foxes, Sheik then has to sort of be significantly better to beat them. So I think you tend to see Sheiks like hang around a certain level because to get better they have to put so much more work in.
That's actually very true. That's a very good statement. Like on the fact that it's definitely one of the beginner, like the most beginner character in beginner friendly, one of the most beginner friendly character in the game. But definitely like if you learn the game the wrong way by using only the beginner's friendly tool that she got, you definitely get stuck at some point. You need to really learn the game to be good with Sheik, 100%.
Yeah. Immediately seeing good decisions from Harvey. Or, sorry, I keep using his real name. I keep seeing good decisions from Bang. I'm liking his defense. At the end of the day, all Bang has to do is take one stock. And for him personally, that's like, well, I did my bit.
I love that part for sure. Like, I love the way he's moving, taking his time in all of those decisions, like those jumps when he waits. And sometimes double jump up air or stuff like that. He got some good reads, some good drifts, some good movement. But unfortunately, as soon as he got hit once by Kesse, he got trapped. Finally get back to the center though.
And when he did get hit, I also noticed it was because he kind of gave up on that defense. He just sort of ran in with a short hop nair, and it was like, oh. Then he got grabbed, and then the combo game started, and then he was in disadvantage, and he was getting pushed back. So yeah, let that to be a lesson to you. Any Marths against Sheik, that was a really good example of when you do something right and when you're slowly building up the stocks, thinking about, well, soon I'll be at a percent where my grab will start converting and that would be a good tool for me. Or I can pop them up in the air and start juggling. And Harvey was getting there. He was getting to that point, but because he didn't quite continue for long enough, or he didn't make decisions that would involve popping up Sheik and then allowing his combo game to continue, he just got a bit hasty and was like, oh, maybe if I knock that way, then I'll get a tech chase. You know, it just felt a bit antsy at the end. He felt that he was getting the wins. He's like, I'm winning neutral. I deserve to continue. I can just go for this. And then it all started to like flop the other side.
I definitely feel also like the fact that Kesse is really good at... Kesse is a good defensive Sheik, and I feel like he's really good at keeping his ground up, you know, and just like keeping, like, forcing the respect from his opponent. Like, he found a lot of hit towards some rolls or stuff like that, you know, where Bang tried some, as you said, stop his defense and try some maybe mix-ups, or I don't know, and just Kesse was just ready for those. Kesse is kind of player that stick in one spot. Actually, as he's in the top 10 in Germany, you know, stick in one spot, being good at that spot, and do not move, like, for the entire game. You know, he's not moving.
He just holds his ground.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now Kesse is facing another player from Wales, Galapagos, the Jigglypuff player. What can you tell about it?
Galapagos, I'm not too familiar with. He's not someone because I used to travel up to Wales quite a bit, so I'd spend a lot of time with these players and have a good time with them. Galapagos isn't someone that I've personally interacted with too much, but I know that he's a puff, and I know that he's been on like the Welsh leaderboards. Like all of these players actually have been on the Welsh leaderboards for a while. Like these are all like long-lasting players, with maybe the exception of EUO. Like he's been playing for a while, but I think he's improved a lot so that he'd start to be on their rankings. But the rest of these players have just been around a long time. Galapagos, I think, is also in that position where he's been around a long time. He's like a very knowledgeable puff. Yeah, and I think, and if he can play the matchup well, because I think this is something we see with like puff and like I'd even say like ICs and some other matchups where if you're very diligent in how you approach the matchup, you should win it. And I think that's true for Icy Sheik, and I think it's true for Puff Sheik. If you're very diligent and you're happy to play the defensive style and just rack up your percent and then like get your rests when you can, or in Icy's case get your grabs, then you should win. But as soon as you start overextending yourself, as soon as you let yourself get bored and do things like this where it's just approaches that aren't safe, then you get grabbed, then she can just sort of consistently get her damage.
And the thing is, like, and the other thing is, like, do you really think Puff is a character that can make a comeback 4-star against 12?
Not so much.
That's tough. It's very
hard.
tough.
It's very hard. Because as you were saying in the beginning, every stock counts, so is it ever worth trading a stock for a rest?
And
no, when you've got 4 to 12, probably not.
Yeah, things like I think Puff is a great and amazing character, but she's definitely nerfed in cruise formats.
I'd agree.
But we'll see. For now, he's still finding those forward smash. It still lost the first stock though. It's already 12-3, unfortunately. And he's giving a lot of grabs to Kese also, unfortunately, which definitely will allow him to still beat that percent and get another kill. Because that aside, like we didn't say it, but Puff is one of the lightest character in the game, obviously, so she will definitely lose her stock pretty quickly also.
Yeah. But then on the flip side, you're less likely to get comboed.
That's true, but she got a down throw though. Got a down throw, got the needle, got the jab.
This isn't PAL anymore.
Yeah, that's true, that's the thing. Yeah. Look at that, and bam!
Yeah.
No more Puff!
No more Puff. Pops like a balloon. See you later. This is like a rough end as well. This is rough for like Galapagos is like to approach this matchup with the diligence it needs, knowing that he is extremely unlikely to win the entire thing. If you know what I mean? Like I think there's a part of you that if you need to make a 12-star comeback, you want to do it aggressively and quickly and put all of your motivation and, you know, strength into it rather than patience.
Yeah, unfortunately he missed the edge guard against She just earlier, allowing Kese to just survive again. Look at all of those needles, the rain of needle and the fair afterwards. What the hell? Kese making that one jump fair. Let's go into the blast zone. Kese is going in.
Oh, it's very good. Oh dear.
Germany, you're too good.
And we didn't even, or I mean, I'm kind of calling the match, I suppose, but we didn't see Nikki, we didn't see Kinzo, we didn't see Six.
That's very true.
Very strong players that, like, when we were thinking about how good Germany was, a lot of people's mind naturally goes to them. But yeah, the players we've seen, they're like, no, we're actually amazing as well.
I mean, we said Germany, one of the best country in the world, proving it right now. Looking forward to see what they will be able to do for the rest of the international crew battle. But right now, there's definitely a strong statement that they're sending to all the other entrants in the tournament.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think and I think that's like a good way to think about it as well. Because if you haven't even used the strong players, people watching this or other crews watching this, like, oh man, their lower half of the team is also incredibly solid. We can't just be thinking, oh, how are we going to take out Timmy? It's like, oh, sorry, how are we going to take out Nikki? It's how are we going to take out everybody? I need a plan for everyone.
Yeah. No, that's definitely very true. Yeah.
Very good
But
showing by Germany. Very well played.
they did it.
Lived up to the reputation for sure.
But actually, I feel like many matches that I've seen today so far, many of them did not send their best player at all during the World Tournament. I'm thinking about Austria, for instance. Like
Yeah.
there are many players we didn't see: Ares, Timmy, Glory for the one that comes on top of my head. And I feel like or they're hiding their card or they're just showing up to all the world like the other player, their B team, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And in a way, I think it's ultimately more fun for everyone because the players that may not have gotten a chance to play because they have like the top end is so strong they may not be needed. So the bottom end actually gets a chance to shine and sort of demonstrate how Germany's doing. Like in this case, how Germany's doing as a whole. Like we can see how great Nicky's doing because he went to America and did really well against Mango. So it's like obviously he's great, but we don't always get this like showcase of the rest of the players. So I think that's a cool way to do things.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.